Bimbos in Time. I need a minute. Roll the theme song.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he's a man punch, wears a party hat. Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where'd he purchase that? Linkara, coins, robots, Amazon and trucks. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
No, I've still got nothing. I really don't know what to say. You know, I remember when this show was young, and I was so excited to be reviewing something like Cinnamon Number 11. I thought that was as low as it could get when it came to bad black and white pseudo-comedy comics. And I say pseudo-comedy because, frankly, stuff like that is not funny, it's embarrassing. One of the most horrible things to happen in comedy is when there are jokes being told and no one is laughing. In fact, it's the kind of feeling you get that's best described as anti-joy. Like any semblance of good feelings are drained from you and you just want to take a razor blade to the wrists. Bimbos in Time is like that. Believe it or not, this thing is in fact a movie-licensed comic. Yes, that's right. There is a movie called Bimbos in Time, and it's not even a porno. It's a PG-rated Z-grade schlock movie. And I'd love to show you clips and maybe even do a comparison, but I can't find the damn thing. Not even clips on YouTube. I mean, they've got footage from some of the other movies that the guy has directed or produced, but not this one. By the way, the guy who made this seems to really have a thing for movies with bimbos in the title. Before making Bimbos in Time, he also apparently made Bimbos BC and Prehistoric Bimbos in Armageddon City. Although, to be fair, I can barely find information about any of those movies either. I'm inclined to believe they're actually all the same movie, just released under different titles, especially since the Prehistoric title tends to have more info and footage, while the other two are just afterthoughts on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. So, you're probably wondering what I'm getting at with all this. The point? This comic is bad. Really bad. It's a serious contender for worst comic I've ever read. And the guy who made this, Todd Sheets, is credited as the writer. Sheets is also listed as the director of the film version and the other Bimbo movies. To be fair, from what scant information I have found, the Bimbo movie stuff was some of his earliest film work and he's not particularly happy with them either. So by extension, I imagine he hates this comic too. These days, he's still creating schlock, but entertaining schlock, like the Zombie Bloodbath series. I love how they don't notice the zombie horde sneaking up on them. Now this one's the next Karate Kid, if you ask me. No, not Jeff Foxworthy! Okay, that was from the first Zombie Bloodbath, probably a bad example. How about Zombie Bloodbath 2?
No! It is you who do not understand. Now you must pay for deliberately defiling the sacred place of our master's own choosing.
You are a wretched being.
Okay, I'll stop laying into the guy. I have nothing but sympathy for how hard it can be to make a movie. To be honest, I'm just trying to pad this. I don't want to start talking about this comic. But I guess at this point I have no choice. Let's dig into Bimbos in Time number 1. So, this is our cover. Wow, they really didn't spare the expense, did they? Just look at how beautifully drawn they are. What magnificent examples of human beings these three women are. I can't find a single anatomical problem anywhere. Oh, but I think the real person to be praised here is the colorist, who clearly used the most expensive colored pencils and crayons they could find that day. Suddenly I understand why the comic's in black and white. They couldn't find a sharpener that day for the colored pencils. You know, I don't even have a problem with colored pencils or crayons as artistic tools, but I prefer my comic books to look a bit more professional. We open to some old witch wearing one of Madonna's old bras and a Viking helmet going through a post-apocalyptic dump. She falls into a hole, and I guess this is supposed to be funny, especially since she's also carrying a rolling pin as a weapon. And out of the darkness comes... Tim Curry?
I'm just a sweet transvestite.
However, the rolling pin to the head stops him before he can break into a musical number. The woman says her name is Ma. I'll tell you what, Ma, how about helping me reform my army and regaining my reign of terror? And I'll give you minimum wage. I ain't no dummy. You want my help? You better be ready to shell out the big bucks. I want $5 an hour or no deal. Aim high, sister. Well, you're a tough one, all right. Okay, you got a deal. Now help me find some cloths. No, not clothes. It clearly says cloths. And together we'll conquer the world!
Of course!
Geez, not even M. Bison can raise my spirits. Meanwhile, at the Bimbo headquarters in Old Chicago... I can really go for some Old Chicago right about now. Yes, they've got beer. At said Bimbo headquarters, and I can't believe I'm actually saying that without trying to impale myself on something, we see a group of women being taught in a classroom about a grave problem they have. Today we'll be addressing the problem of how to be a good bimbo warrior without breaking a nail. I'm only on page 4. This comic is 48 pages long. Expect a lot of crying in this episode. The woman, Triana, is called away and she tells another woman, Gabrielle, to take over. Okay, now let's see. Yeah, new topic, okay? Because, I don't know that lesson, you know? Suddenly, the no gun sign in the background makes perfect sense. Triana meets up with this guy, who's in front of a massive supercomputer and watching Astro Boy for no apparent reason. Good to know that after the apocalypse, Astro Boy will still be entertaining the masses. This guy says that their old enemy, Tim Curry, is back again. Oh god, I think this might be a sequel! He's suddenly wearing a big supercomputer helmet thing that I'm sure allows him to access the computer at incredible speeds, hunt down mutants across the globe, coordinate the renegade Daleks, and dries his hair in 20 minutes or less. Come to think of it, isn't that the thing I used to reprogram Spoony's clone? It seems Tim Curry has reactivated an old nuclear reactor. 'Cause I guess people can just do that. However, the reactor was damaged, and that spells possible disaster for the wastelands they live in. By the way, it's also nice to know that after the apocalypse, thongs will be standard fashion fare. Over at the nuclear plant, Tim Curry tells Ma that he's surprised that they got the reactor working again. Sometimes it amazes me. Rat, that I'm so smart? No, that ellipses question mark. Amazes me that, line? Ah, the Bimbos have arrived, brandishing swords while still wearing their underpants. This time we'll finish you off for good! Oh yeah? Says who? Well, it says so in my contract! I'm sorry, I must have slipped into a coma for a second there. Was there a really bad joke? Okie dokie. Enough talk! I want action! I want anything else right now. So yeah, fight scene, and it goes about as well as you would think with this artwork. Tim Curry's got a big four-fingered glove for some reason, and there's some really weird-ass sound effects like Wong, and a swoosh that seems to be coming out of the rolling pin. Ugh, I am so bored. By the way, this comic was a donation, and I still feel like I was ripped off. What looks like a nuclear explosion occurs, and for a second, there's that fleeting hope that maybe they're all dead and the comic's over. Especially when I see that one of the sound effects is poop. Why does it feel like I could be doing something more useful with my time than reviewing this? Like watching grass grow during winter? The only survivor runs back to Bimbo's HQ. Ah, look, just saying that has caused my ears to bleed. He runs to their resident scientist, who seems to have a big problem with her sweating. Also, she's suffering from Youngblood's disease, though she's trying to hide it with her glasses. She says that she thinks that The reactor imploded, creating a rip in time, a doorway to another place. Place. Yeah, she really says place twice for no reason. Maybe another dimension. A dimension not of sight or sound, but of bad comedy. We cut to Memphis in 1957, where Elvis is making an appearance. What's your name, baby? Ashley. I had a dog named Ashley, Onik. The Bimbos appear and they instantly know what happened. It seems I read something about this. I think it was called The Script. I think we went through a vortex. You mean a time door? No, she said a vortex. An implosion in matter-antimatter existence?
Of course! Don't you know anything about science?
No! That was not remotely scientific! Somehow they realize they can get back through the time door, but that it will only remain open for 24 hours. Also, for some reason, it will relocate to a different spot, but stays within 3 miles of the original starting point, and ugh, God, I'm bored again. If you guys need me, I'll be over here doing something else. Slow ride! Take it easy! Anyway, they can track down the portal, but they run into Elvis, who gets pulled into their next time jump. In this time jump, they arrive in the days of Camelot. You know, 'cause that's so historical. This is really something that pisses me off. T.H. White's The Once and Future King is my favorite book, and Camelot is one of my favorite musicals. I really love Arthurian lore, so whenever it's used in trash like this, well, I'm surprised I haven't cut this comic up with rusty scissors yet. Tim Curry and Ma appear in the middle of a battle. Oh, and look! There's a knight on the side that resembles the Black Knight from Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail. We now interrupt our regularly scheduled piece of crap comic to show a bit from Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail. You'll thank me later!
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's that then?
I've heard worse.
You liar!
Come on, you pansy!
When Tim Curry makes a proclamation that he's the ruler of Armageddon City, King Arthur yells, "I'm the king!"
I'm the King of England!
No, I'm a king. And I am the walrus Cuckoo-Ca-Choo. Can we move on? The knights surround the Bimbos and Tim Curry tries to get Arthur on his side. Wait, we're not your enemy! No, you're the enema! It's like enemy, only messier!
You're despicable.
Of course, the Bimbos only have to point out that they're hot, thus Arthur should side with them. And brave King Arthur, ever faithful to his love Guinevere, buys into this and sends his knights after Tim Curry and the Old Crow. There's a pointless scene back in the present, and then we find ourselves in the 1800s where, coincidence of coincidences, the Bimbos find themselves in London during an attack by Jack the Ripper. After dispatching Jolly Jack, they talk to the woman who they saved, who, once again, by sheer coincidence, happens to be the niece of Sherlock Holmes. Wait, does that mean that Mycroft Holmes had a daughter? Wait, why do I even care? Sherlock Holmes is another friggin' fictional character! This makes no sense! So the woman takes the Bimbos to see Sherlock Holmes, and wow, there's a phrase I never thought I'd say. You know, Elvis is still with them, and he seems to be taking all this time travel crap in stride. Then again, anyone who's seen Bubba Hotep knows how Elvis deals with weird problems.
Never fuck with the king.
Is it just me, or am I making a lot of references in this episode? Anyway, they arrive at Holmes' place, and he's immediately entranced by this one woman who hasn't been named. Okay, I think that's enough of that crap. Anyway, they fix their time tracker thingy, and the woman says she's staying with Holmes. It's a touching, emotional scene as they farewell to their friend. Or at least it would have been if we'd ever even known this character's name or established anything related to her until this absolutely moronic scene. God, I hate this comic! Next up is the Old West. Tim Curry and the Old Crow are living the high life, having taken over a town. Why, they've even tied a girl to some railroad tracks. Yes, this is surely a great work of parody and satire. The Bimbos arrive and are instantly confronted by this pigeon-footed woman. Your feet are supposed to go the other way, lady. Oh, but it turns out that the Bimbos know this woman, whose name is Morbius. And it turns out Morbius is a bimbo, and the girl tied to the railroad tracks, Rochelle, is also one. Wow, it's so great to see these two. We already know so much about them as characters. Smoke on the water, a fire in the sky. So they decide they need to rescue her, but there's a time limit. Yeah, see, it turns out that their little tracking device for the time portal is solar-powered, only because their batteries for it are dead. Yeah, we know, we should have brought our Energizers! And lo and behold, the Energizer Bunny!
This isn't funny!
Tim Curry and the Old Crow jump out and mortally wound the one guy who hangs out with the Bimbos. Unsurprisingly, I care not in the slightest. Somehow he doesn't die because we see him later on, but even if we hadn't, why should we care about any of these characters? And by the way, according to IMDb, this guy is named Larry, the male bimbo.
Why is everybody in this comic a f***ing bimbo?
The only one of these people I care about is Elvis, because he's barely said anything. They all get tied up and... Wait, what's that in the background?
Who shall we have one sign the likes of which even God has never seen?
Meanwhile, back at Bimbo HQ, it's really starting to hurt now. A character breaks the fourth wall in another feeble attempt at humor. So the villains leave the Bimbos on the railroad tracks, but conveniently they have a pocket knife to cut through the ropes. However, the girl they came to rescue is hit by a train. Oh, but the train doesn't splatter her, she gets carried off by it. I was trying to get away. Oh look, the Lone Ranger! You know what the problem is with this comic? I keep finding myself wanting to watch and read other stuff. I could be watching The Lone Ranger, or Dune, or Bubba Hotep. Anyway, Bimbos show up and fight scene. I know so you, Bimbo! What? I know so you, Bimbo! That does it! You're finished! Anywho, Elvis punches the Old Crow, more idiotic fighting. Here, let's talk some more about how much this sucks. They have the entire full page of a comic to work with, but you'll notice that the tops and bottoms on every page are left completely blank, instead opting for some weird pattern around all the panels. I suppose it's just as well, since the blank space would have just been full of more crap, but I don't get it. Why format it like this? Anyway, the Bimbos get rescued, but one stays behind because she met a cowboy or something. Oh, who the hell cares? They go back to their own time and go into bikinis, like they weren't already in bikinis, and frolic around in what I'm sure is toxic sewage since this is after the apocalypse and all. They explain that they didn't bring Tim Curry and Ma back with them. No, they get left in dinosaur time, and so our comic ends with them fittingly getting urinated on, or possibly defecated on, I can't tell, by a T-Rex. This comic is wretched! Now, you're probably thinking to yourselves, this is the worst comic he's ever done. It must have totally broken him. But no. This is amateur hour. This was a group of dumbasses getting together and thinking they could create a cheap comic, make a few bucks, and not give a crap about the medium in which they were working in. You know what? I'm too badass to be broken by that. You don't want me to go nuts reading some piece of fetid garbage like Bimbos in Time. You want me to really get my hands dirty, don't you? Rip into some controversial stuff. Get people talking because I'm going after comic legends. Well, guess what? Next week, it's Miller time! Thank you very much. Uh-huh.